When Paper Mario 64 came out and every single person on the planet that played it went, "Oh fuck, this is the best game I've ever played," Intelligent Systems and Nintendo had one question to consider for the inevitable sequel on the GameCube. Yo, what if we sent Mario to downtown Baltimore? I think it'll be fun if I just kind of follow the same sort of format that I did before and play through the whole game and kind of just talk about it. Is that cool with you guys? Okay, sweet. Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door, and Super were all directed by Ryota Kawade. His first credit is on Wario's Woods on the Super Nintendo, which is really cool because that game rules.
The run-up creatures and everything. Toad's very flexible. Oh, dang it.
But honestly, his entire resume in the game industry could pretty much fit on a napkin. It's almost like another Shinichi Shimomura situation where, he directs a few high-quality games and then dips out of the game dev bag for something else. But Mr. Kawade is technically still working. He just hasn't done much recently other than overseeing the recent remake of Thousand Year Door on the Switch. Before any of you ask, nah, I haven't played that shit. Don't really plan on doing so anytime soon either. The new soundtrack isn't really to my particular tastes, and I can just download a GameCube ISO of the original online and play this shit for free on Dolphin, which I recommend all of you do as well instead of trying to cop a disc off of eBay with Sezzle installments or whatever. I'm sure the Switch remake is a perfectly good way to play through the game if you're dead set on purchasing a copy, but just imagine what else you could do with the $40 you'd save if you— This shit is $60? TTYD starts out almost exactly the same way that Paper Mario 64 does, with the same cutscene of Parakarry delivering a letter to Mario's house again. I kinda like this because it makes the rug pull that much more impactful when immediately after this we get the rogue port and we see crackheads in the streets and some Pianta mobsters beating the shit out of some poor sucker because he's been ghosting his bookie for a few weeks. The start of this game rocks because it wastes a lot less of your time getting to the point. Look, I love the original Paper Mario more than life itself, but the worst part about it is having to sit through the entire fucking prologue chapter every time. We have to find Peach in the castle, fall down to earth, and run around in the woods with the Goomba grandpa until the cartridge goes, "Yeah, fuck it man, here, take Goombario, go have fun." The Thousand Year Door— actually, I'm gonna just refer to the game as TTYD from now on. This shit isn't like a Tribe Called Quest, it's fine to abbreviate it. TTYD in general is a bit faster than the first game is. I feel like attacks happen a touch quicker, and I feel like the game's pacing is just generally a bit more prompt. It sucks that you can't spin dash in the overworld, and I do find myself missing it when I'm running around because it's really fun to just spin around everywhere, but I guess it isn't exactly a huge blow to the game's quality or anything. TTYD's writing is also a bit more hit and miss than the first game. Like, I think sometimes the localization team tries just a little bit too hard to be funny, but admittedly the game rarely seriously suffers for this either. If you compare the first two Paper Mario games, I for sure prefer the first game's tone and storyline and writing and stuff, but this is still a very fun and special RPG to play through, and there's no doubt about that. Even if this stupid little kid in Petalburg is trying to advertise Nintendo products to me. Look at this shit. This started really early, didn't it? Just like in the first game, the most fun that you can have in TTYD is having your little Goomba friend tell you about everything and everyone around you. Goombella is kind of a bit more sarcastic and sassy than Goombario was. She's a bit older and she's a college girl, so I imagine she's been hardened through years of getting harassed by stupid frat guys or whatever. But again, she's easily the best part of this game, and overall she's pretty cheerful and pleasant. She's got the whole Valley Girl thing going on, but she's also kind of a huge nerd. She's a cute character and my favorite partner in this game, definitely. First things first though, we gotta save her from these weird goons that are all wearing pervert goggles for some reason. Is that part of their dress code? I mean, it's a bit better than what the Smurfs have got going on, but not much. Once we get away from these freaks, Goombella mentions that one of her college professors is taking an extended stay in Rogueport to investigate a special treasure, which sounds a lot like the shit Peach was talking about in her letter, so we decide to go find the guy. Alright, where the fuck do we need to go? Over here? Ah, fuck. Lady, I'm sorry, I was just trying to find my new friend's stupid professor, and now I've ruined your entire week. I like that a lot of the NPCs in Rogueport aren't friendly at all. It's great. We pissed this lady off so bad that she's not gonna let us into the west side of Rogueport until we buy her a new contact lens. Alright, we'll deal with this shit later on. Rogueport is a really fun area to run around and explore. It makes a great first impression. Everybody here has some crazy shit going on, like this guy that's hiding from a police constabulary from a neighboring town, or this guy who's about 2 weeks off from a messy crazy suicide in his apartment. It's definitely the type of city Aesop Rock was talking about in the 6B panorama. It's a rough world in these outskirt areas of the Mushroom Kingdom that the Royal Castle doesn't really acknowledge. But the music that plays here really makes you feel excited about it all. Like when you play this shit as a kid, you feel like there's a danger level here that you've never really experienced before, but you also feel like one day you could run this fucking city. The theme really hypes you up and makes you feel like you're on a cool adventure. It's always nice to come back here in between chapters. And while it isn't quite as iconic as Toad Town is to me, it still feels like a neighborhood I'm really familiar with. I like this inn area where Toadsworth is hanging out, and holy shit, Toadsworth. Man, it's good to fucking see you, dude. It's weird to me that Nintendo was putting this guy in every game ever for a hot minute during one of their best eras ever, and then just abruptly decided that he needed to be taken out back and shot in between the eyes for no fucking reason. I miss this old fart so much. He's never really had much of a personality other than old guy that is worried about everything, but he's always been a very welcome presence to me, and it still boggles my mind at how little interest Nintendo seems to have in making their characters have actual character traits. But whatever, I'm happy to see him here. The bar underneath the inn is kind of cozy and comfy too. It manages to feel like a really safe area, even in a dangerous city like Rogueport. John Taffer wouldn't have a single fucking complaint about this place. Yeah, I bet he'd keep his big fucking mouth shut. I like that Rogueport also has a little bit of verticality to it. Not a lot, but you're encouraged to kind of explore and run around, and there are even special areas and collectibles that you can only reach if you're running around on the roofs. Roofs? Roofs? That's a fucked up word. Roofs. Dude, fuck the English language. I'm doing the rest of the video in Chinese. 你好，我的音心太小了，我有智力障碍. There's also this chode blocking the path to the east side of Rogueport unless you pay him a fee, and I think he's supposed to be the type of mini-boss that you're not supposed to beat immediately to teach the player that there's a runaway option. Because this guy's health bar is pretty hefty for this early on in the game, and his attacks are a few hit points stronger than the basic enemies we'll be fighting soon. He's even like, hey bro, you've got a runaway button in your battle menu options, you should click that shit. But this game starts Mario out with 100 coins, so we can just load up on fire flowers and fuck this guy up in a few turns, Son of Sam style. I like that TTYD lets you do that sort of thing sometimes. You always kind of feel like you can fuck around and do things your own way a little bit. The first real boss that we have to fight is like this too, but I'll get to that in a minute. We don't even need to fight this guy right now because Professor Frankly doesn't even live on the east side of Rogueport and there isn't anything to do over here yet. But I really dig that you can just go out of your way to beat this guy early and you're rewarded with literally nothing for it. Frankly has this cute bit where he's trying to remember Goombella's name, and impressively enough, he's able to pull Goombella out of the hat full of stupid-ass Goomba names. I mean, fucking imagine living in the Paper Mario world and having to teach a college course on archaeology where half of the student body is named shit like Goom Brittany, and Goom Brian, and Goom Bartholomew. Imagine accidentally confusing Goom Benjamin with Goom Bernie, and they hate each other, so it's just a whole thing. And then everybody's just mad and upset and pissed off, and nobody finishes their research papers on Goomliam Stuckley's studies on Stonehenge. I mean, Goomhenge? Wait, why does this guy just have a normal-ass fucking... Why is he just named Frankly? Frankly takes a look at the map that Princess Peach attached to the letter that she mailed us and guides us to the warp pipe outside that leads to the sewer system. Just like the first game, we spend a lot of time in the underground and it acts as a sort of hub to get us to the other areas. I like it down here. The music sounds really cool and it's fun to just run around and smash Goombas and these spinny top guys. If you've played the first Paper Mario, then from the get-go you see a lot of shit that you know you'll be able to interact with once you unlock an ability or recruit the right partner or whatever. And I think that in my personal experience at least, I always enjoy seeing a thing and going, ah shit, I can't get you now, but I'll be back once I make friends with a bomb. Maybe I just have Stockholm Syndrome from playing Metroid a lot as a kid, but I've never been the type of person to be hugely bothered by backtracking a lot of the time. I mean, Thief Gold is one of my favorite video games ever made, and every time I play it, I'm just wandering around in the Bone Horde level, completely lost. With a huge smile on my face. In the deepest part of the underground, we find the door that the fucking game is named after, and it reacts to our map. Yeah, structurally, this is the same shit as the first game, except instead of star spirits that all have personalities and dialogue and stuff, they're these star-shaped rocks called the crystal stars. I think this kind of bummed me out as a kid, if I'm being honest. Like, I really enjoyed wondering what kind of personalities the star spirits would have when I saved them at the end of each chapter in the first game, and I liked meeting them and stuff and reading their dialogue. Like, whoa, this guy's kind of tough and hardy, and this guy's kind of thoughtful and quiet. And this guy's gay. But in this game, it's just like, okay, whatever, what special move is the rock gonna give me? It's fine, I don't really mind it at all as an adult, and it's still fun to collect the star-shaped chaos emeralds, but as a kid, I definitely saw this as a downgrade. Our first crystal star is located near Petalburg, where a bunch of Koopas live and a green-haired kid with leukemia. Petal Meadows surrounds Petalburg, and I don't have much to say about it as it's a typical grassy field sort of area that is commonplace for the beginning of a Mario game. I like the music here a lot. I like that it features some melodies from the original NES game's theme, and it's also a bit jammy sounding. Like, I know this shit was probably sequenced in Pro Tools or something, but it feels really alive and robust. I love the choices and sounds here too. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game, and it's an instant mood booster every time I hear it. Hang on, I gotta grab this star piece real quick. Okay, sweet. Star pieces are in this game too, and they're similarly utilized. They're scattered all over the overworld, and you collect them so you can trade them for badges with this pervert in the underground area outside of Merlevle's house. Oh shit, Merlevle's in this game. Hell yeah! Man, why do you look like that though? I kinda hate the way the shamans look in this game. I don't know why they changed all their designs around so much. They look perfect in Paper Mario 64, but I guess these new designs suit the shift in the art style a bit better or something. I'm not smart enough to critique this in an intelligent way, so I'll just leave it at that.
She's dumb and she looks weird.
Yeah, I used the clip from Digital Circus in my fucking Paper Mario video. I like the show. Look at this picture of Jax I drew in MS Paint. The residents of Petalburg are pretty stoked that we want to try our hand at defeating Hooktail, this dragon that we saw flying around when we first showed up. They apparently terrorize everybody by eating people and just generally being a huge nuisance. And conveniently, they're guarding the first crystal star as well. We head out towards this forest to the east to defeat this Thwomp Guardian so we can unlock the way to Hooktail's castle, but he makes us take this silly quiz game. I was curious about it this time and I lost the quiz on purpose just to see what would happen, but he just makes us fight these clefts that die immediately to the POW block we picked up outside. I like that this pisses him off. That's pretty good. I like that. He lets us into the sewers below the fortress so we can grab these stones that we immediately understand how to use. Stop splashing sewer water all over Goombella, you're gonna give her pink eye. Inside Hooktail's castle, oh yeah, we've got a new guy, huh? Koops is fine. He's got this anxious kind of energy to him. He's kind of neurotic and whiny, and I miss Cooper's no-nonsense straight man routine. But his overworld ability is really sick. You can have him wait in place while you run around before launching him in the opposite direction, which makes for fun mini puzzles involving hitting switches at the same time and moving Mario to the correct position to take advantage of the switch being pressed and stuff. This castle's fun and straightforward enough, and I like that the layout is a bit smaller than the Koopa Bros castle in the first game. I'm gonna try to stop comparing this game to the first one so much and just sort of speak about it based on its own merits, but forgive me if this happens again. The first Paper Mario really is one of my favorite video games ever, and it's by far my favorite video game with the word Mario in the title of it. Well, besides this one. Ugh, these fights get more annoying, and they they go faster, but they can't actually kill you, or attack you or anything, so it's just like, I've never been hunting, but I imagine that if you go hunting and you injure a deer, but you haven't killed it and you have to beat its head in with a golf club or something. That's what I imagine that this is like. In this game, there are these black chests that we have to open, and every time we do so, we get a new situational ability to use. The first one is back in the sewers with this paper airplane ability that's kind of fun to get the hang of using, and the one in Hooktail's castle allows us to turn 90 degrees to be flat so we can fit through stuff like cell doors and cracks in walls. The abilities themselves are pretty cool and mostly useful. I especially like this one that we'll get later that lets us roll around because it almost makes up for the lack of the ability to spin dash. But the spooky chest demon does this bit every single time where he's like, "Oh, you're cursed! Oh!" And it just gets old really fast. They're really dedicated to the bit too, because they do this every single time we run into a black chest up until the last one. And I guess the fact that they keep doing it without ever dropping the bit kind of circles back around to being funny again. Like, you know, 20 hours into this game and they're still like, whoa, I bet you're so afraid right now of my horrible curses. And it's like, oh no, yeah, I'm terrified. I think I brought this up in the Paper Mario 64 video that I did a few years ago as well, and I've maybe softened on it a bit, but this game does go out of its way to really lean into the paper stuff a lot. Every upgrade we get is like a meta joke about Mario being made out of paper, and there are all these transitions in the game, like paper getting folded up and crumpled and shit, and it's a little heavy-handed, but I don't really mind it so much now. I'm trying to be less of a stickler about stuff like this these days, you know? Like, I'm getting old and shit. I gotta learn to be more easygoing. Life is short. I was 19 years old trying to figure out how to put a condom on for the first time at an Electric Wizard concert like yesterday, and now I drink kale juice for my prostate. I'm dying of old age tomorrow. A few NPCs mentioned that Hooktail is afraid of crickets, and I kinda get it, they're freaky looking. I don't want these guys in my house either. There's this badge that we can pick up in the castle that we can equip that changes our hammer sound effect to sound like and it makes the boss fight piss easy. You can totally beat Hooktail without it, but it's just another example of the player being able to approach situations in whatever way they see fit. I like equipping the badge because it's funny to watch Hooktail go, ew, gross. They even have a different facial expression depending on whether or not you have the badge equipped. It's a nice little detail. You know what isn't funny though? This icky, stinky foot fetish shit. Every time I see this shit, I just want to turn the fucking game off. It pisses me off that anybody would find this funny or, God forbid, arousing. Fucking embarrassing. Just grow up and get into armpit jobs or thigh jobs or something. Jesus Christ. Hooktail's boss fight isn't particularly challenging or notable either. You just have to keep hitting their toe until they die. Halfway through the fight, they lunge into the audience and eat half of them to regain some lost health though, which is pretty surprising and fun. But this dragon pervert is no match for Mario and Koops. The first crystal star is ours, and now we finally have a decent AoE attack to use. Let's head back to Rogueport and see what's next. I guess I should probably explain why Mario is getting his dick sucked by Goombella in the alleyway. This game's combat system is a little bit different from the first games in that every partner character has their own HP bar and they can use items and shit, compared to Paper Mario 64 just kind of having Mario being your only party member with these extra options. Enemies will even go out of their way to damage your partner characters in some instances, and every partner character has a low HP idle animation that'll loop and even continue into the overworld, which I think is a fun and cute little detail. So that's why it looks like Goombella is giving Mario sloppy top. That's why it looks like Goombella is getting sloppy all over Super Mario's little Italian penis and balls. Look, it's fine. They're consenting adults. Goombella's in college, right? This is how I understand shit goes down when you're in college, right? This is the time for this? I wouldn't fucking know. I'm a high school dropout. It's cool that your partner characters have their own health bars, but everybody still shares the same FP pool, so it's smart to upgrade that or your BP as early as possible. The badge system is still just as fun to play around with in this game, and there's even a bigger selection of badges to find and equip. Some of them even being specifically made to buff your partner characters, which is also fun. I like feeling like your partner characters in this game are almost equally valuable to Mario. But yeah, FP and BP are important as fuck, so if you see your friend playing this game and they immediately start upgrading their HP when they hit their first level up, you're allowed to call them a pussy. See, look, the game will do it too. The battle system has even more going on after all that. There's an appeal mechanic that's basically a better version of Focus from the first game. The star gauge can be filled up by spending one of Mario or a partner character's turns by waving at the audience or winking at the audience or flashing them or whatever. But you can also charge it up by getting stylish points with your attacks if you're really cool like me and you've played this game a lot. Oh yeah. I don't remember if there's a part in this game that explicitly explains how the stylish points work. So when you play this shit and kind of discover it on your own, it feels so satisfying. It tickles your brain in the exact same way that racking up a trick combo in SSX or Tony Hawk does. You know that Mario is actually in SSX on tour, right? Man, I really adored this game growing up. I heard Flutter by Bonobo for the first time and Medication by Queens of the Stone Age for the first time while playing this shit, which was very cool for kid me. I also heard Bat Country by Avenged Sevenfold, and I think that was the first time I ever got really upset at how bad a song was. In addition to all these new battle mechanics, you also have to keep an eye on the audience. There's a lot going on down there. The overall size of your audience will dictate how many appeal points you get whenever you pull off tricks or use the appeal option. And then you have to kind of keep an eye on who's actually in the audience too. Tons of different types of NPCs can show up, and they all have the potential to do different things. Like Toads will occasionally throw you helpful items, Koopas and Goombas can throw I think either helpful items or rocks or cans that damage us. I like when the Hammer Bros show up in the audience. The devs put a lot of thought into their AI. They'll be chill unless you fuck up a hammer action command, and if that happens, they'll throw their hammer at you. It's like they want to show you how it's done. It's cute. Shy Guys are assholes in this game. They'll sneak attack you if they're feeling miffed, which happens kind of often, because they got demoted to just being audience members in this game. There's no Shy Guy chapter in TTYD. There's no Shy Guy enemies in TTYD. The game is basically unplayable because of this. I don't know what they were thinking. Every time we finish a chapter, we have to go down to the 1,000-year door to show it the crystal star we got so it can add a new spot on our map for us to go to. It's funny that we have to do this every single time, but I guess it makes sense. I remember playing this as a kid sometimes, and because I was fucking stupid, I'd sometimes get stuck in between chapters not knowing what to do or where to go, because I would forget that you have to go to the door every time. So I would just wander around Rogueport kind of showing whichever character just joined my party the city. Like, alright Coops, this is the chalk outline where a guy got shot because Rogueport is a stand your ground city, and this is the noose where they execute people. I guess that's genuinely kind of scary for you because you actually have a neck, huh? The next crystal star is in an area called Bogley Woods. With a name like that, you'd almost expect it to be this super psychedelic, wacky, goofy place with lots of whimsical creatures in it that all offer you drugs and run around naked, but we get there and it's all black and white and kind of serene and tranquil. I mean, my mind isn't exactly boggled, but I can definitely chill out here and take those CBD pills that I got at the gas station. Outside of the pipe that leads to Bogley Woods, we meet this little guy named Punio, who's a puny. And I don't think these guys have ever showed up in any other Mario games, but that's a shame because they're really cute and likable. I dig that they're this weird cross between like a slug and a bug and a rat. I've been on this spiel before, but it really is unfortunate that Nintendo kind of stamped out all the uniqueness out of this series as it progressed over the years. It's just a bummer. It's just a... oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh. Okay, wait, the CBD gas station pills are hitting me. In Bogley Woods, we come face to face with these ghost girls that we've seen in previous cutscenes interacting with the X-Nauts. Check out how fucking mean the oldest chick is to the youngest chick. I would never talk this way to my siblings. What's the matter with her? She even calls her ugly. That's so hurtful for no reason. I'm not an expert on human psychology or anything, but that just feels like pure projection. Like, Vivian is obviously the cutest sister here, even though the big one also has a sort of moe 1950s cartoon goon quality to her, I guess. I mean, look at these two characters. It's obvious which one is prettier. You're just being a spiteful bitch for no reason and taking away the necklace she found to be an asshole. The battle we have against them is really fun. All three of them employ different elemental magic styles, Beltum doing ice attacks to freeze us, Marilyn doing big electric attacks, and Vivian using fire spells. Battles in this game in general are just so fun. Even battling all the monochrome piranha plants and clouds and shit in the woods is really great. I'm skipping around a bit, but Punio explains to us that the X-Nauts have taken over the tree that he and all of his friends and family live in because they're also looking for the crystal star. But when we get to the tree itself, it's got a new high-tech door on it that Punio doesn't know how to get past. So we need to ask for help from someone named Madame Flurry. We go to her house and she's like, I can't let anybody see me without my necklace. But it's fine because we've already got it. Actually, if I was designing this game, this is how it would have gone down, but no. We have to go to the tree, go to Flurry's house, go back to the Shadow Sisters, get the necklace, then go back to Flurry's house to recruit her so we can find a way into the tree. I even tried to get ahead of this a little bit by going back to the Shadow Sisters before we talked to Madame Flurry to circumvent some of the backtracking. I thought, hell, maybe the video game will think I'm being clever and give me some coy dialogue like a wink and a nudge for thinking ahead like this. But no, if you try going back to the Shadow Sisters before you go to Flurry's house, they don't fight you. You can't collect the necklace. This isn't like an especially egregious game design decision or anything, but I want you to keep this in mind because it is going to come up again later. This all takes like 6 or 7 fucking minutes total, like walking back and forth through the woods like this. It's not a huge deal. Flurry's not my favorite party member or anything. I like her personality. She's a retired film actress, and she talks like those sweet and fancy old rich ladies. You know what I'm talking about. They probably make a mean potato salad. They could probably also suck a golf ball through a garden hose. Her abilities in battle aren't especially fun to use though, I gotta say. I never really feel the need to use her over Goombella because Goombella can do what she does, but better as far as attack damage goes, and I just prefer the haste and snappiness of Goombella's action command compared to whatever the fuck Flurry has going on. Her overworld ability is cool though. She's a wind spirit, so she can blow wind to uncover objects that are hiding or find hidden paths. For some reason, when I was a kid playing this shit, I always thought that Mario was squeezing her boob to make the air come out of her though. I don't really know what made me think this because it's obvious to me now that he's just like squeezing her ghostly tail thing. Maybe it's just the fact that she's got a big rack and she's not wearing a shirt and Mario's like squeezing her. I don't know. I had a shitty little CRT TV growing up. I was like 10 when this game came out. I don't fucking know, man. It weirded me out though, like, oh shit. Mario, I think you're usually supposed to ask women if you can squeeze their tits before you just do it. Once we blow away the hidden secret entrance to the tree, we immediately start fucking up the goons that have taken it over. Man, I never get over how fun the counter guard is. It hits like crack every time you successfully pull it off. Yeah, I'm fucking Italian. I pour olive oil down the kitchen sink. I don't have time for your bullshit ass baby attacks. There's a lot of shit going on inside of the big tree where the Punies live. I like how it looks in here visually a lot. Really big fan of this shader effect on this little pool here that looks like bubble water. You know, the stuff you blow bubbles with. Very memorable to me in this game for some reason. Admittedly, this part of the game was never really my favorite. It kind of stresses me out. You've got to save the Punies from being locked up in these big cages, and then you've got to guide them through the tree and utilize them to hit switches and shit. But I don't know, I never played Pikmin as a kid either because the idea of managing a bunch of little minions makes me really anxious. And I hate when they get scared and scatter and I've got to jump down here to gather them all back up and stuff. It's not the worst thing I've ever experienced in a video game or anything for sure, but it's a bit much. And the music that plays in here really adds to it. I like the way it sounds a lot, but listening to it also really feels like you're losing your fucking mind. Like circus music. I like these sections where we have to take our little puny army and fucking decimate the invading species. The punies are so brutal about it too, like I'm watching some shit on National Geographic. Guys, do you really need to destroy their entire nest too? It just feels a little excessive. We get to this bit here, and if you're real attentive, you can immediately figure out how to solve this puzzle, and then we get to do Mario's iconic butt slam attack. I like that Toadette shows up every time we get a jump or hammer upgrade to show us how to do it. Even though I've played this game a million times, I always practice using the new move a few times for her because she's really polite and excited about it every time, and I don't want to bum her out by going, no, it's okay Toadette, I know, I've done this before. No, I'll gladly do it again for her. Attacking enemies with a first strike in the overworld is always really fun and it feels great, but it's just extra rewarding if you get to spin jump on a motherfucker. Yeah, that rules. Once we finally find the crystal star, Lord Crump shows up and swipes it and activates a timer hooked up to explosives that he lined the whole fucking tree with. Okay, these X-Naut guys are not messing around after all. Now we gotta be Samus in Super Metroid. I do love that the oh fuck, oh shit music keeps playing through all the battles that we get stopped with while we escape, and the timer just keeps going down, even when we're in dialogue or a battle. It adds to the tension of the moment a lot. I guess I should explain what we know about the X-Nauts while Mario and Koops get all the punies out of here safely. These guys show up in Rogueport at the beginning of the game looking for the crystal stars, and I already made fun of their pedophile goggles, but their leader is a guy named Grotus, who kidnaps Peach because she gets her hands on the crystal star map, but she's already sent it to Mario, so they're pretty much holding her hostage and not able to get any information out of her because she doesn't know shit about the crystal stars at all. Actually, we don't know shit about them yet either. We're pretty much just collecting them because Frankly told us to. We get little bits in between the chapters, like in the first game, where we get to play as Peach and see things from her perspective. We can take a shower as her, and she ties her hair up every time, which is really cute. But for some reason, this makes this Korean guy drop his spaghetti all over the place. The actual fuck does hot dog sexy mean? Peach has this whole side plot going on with the supercomputer that the X-Nauts have in their base, where he's all like,
beep beep boop boop, my robot penis is erect because I monitored you taking a shower.
And Peach has to like teach him about the birds and the bees, but he's just like,
beep beep boop boop, I do not know what you are talking about, but I feel compelled to let you do whatever you want if you keep taking showers in front of me.
So she's able to send Mario emails and stuff to keep him updated on what the X-Nauts are doing throughout the game, which is cool. Mario's little email reader looks like a Game Boy Advance SP, you know, it's cute. Right now we don't really know much at all except for the fact that these guys really want the crystal stars, and we can't let that happen because they're giving everybody the ick. Okay, whew. He turned off the timer. At first you think, oh sweet, he wants to play Super Monkey Ball with us. But I do actually think it's clever how they animate the mech transformation like it's a big paper craft. This boss fight's a lot of fun. He does this foot stomp attack where he kind of oscillates his foot between Mario and the partner character, and you've got to have pretty quick reflexes to counter it or guard against it. It's like the type of fake out shit that your high school bullies hit you with every single day after gym class. Yeah dude, I know about that. You're watching an hour-long YouTube video about Paper Mario. I know all about how you were bullied in high school. Listen, it's gonna be okay. The cruelty of others gives us opportunities to grow and become kinder, more understanding people. Control yourself, take only what you need from it. I like the goofy bass line in this song. It's an impeccable fusion of intensity and silliness. Like, you feel like a badass listening to this, but you also rightfully feel like you're in a goofy Saturday morning cartoon. I like that this game gives you lots of opportunities to buff yourself and debuff enemies this early on. Like, we can get a badge that gives Mario the charge ability, and there are items that we can use to do shit like this, even though we're still pretty early on in the game. Charging is like the best mechanic in Paper Mario 64, and it's partly why I like using Goombario so much during battles in that game. But TTYD's battles are great because that's just one strat you can utilize amongst many others. This game is just a lot of fun. Crump's mech has some defense, so I like buffing Mario and using the multi-bounce for when he shoots out his arms to take them both out at the same time. Once we get the crystal star, we can get the fuck out of this whack-ass tree and take it to the 1,000-year door to get to our next destination. It's apparently up in this sky arena where rich people watch downtrodden dudes fight each other, so we gotta go ask Frankly how the fuck we're getting up there. Okay, he doesn't know. We're gonna have to talk to the Pianta mobsters that run the west side of Rogueport to figure it out, and hopefully not get our fucking knees capped in the process. Come on Mario, you're Italian. Let's explore Rogueport a little more before we engage in some Dago to Dago communication. In order to even get over to the west side of Rogueport to begin with, we're gonna have to special order a contact lens for that grumpy lady from earlier, and once we get it to her, she chills out a lot. The west side of Rogueport is clearly much nicer than the square and the east side. There's much higher quality apartments over here and some greenery, and you can tell that this guy that runs the HOA loves to brag online about how the crime level on the west side is much lower because the filthy poors generally stay out. Most of the toads live on this side too. Man, they really gentrified this shit. Bet there's a fucking Whole Foods on this block, and they've got an HR lady that has a stack of applications that she's ignoring because they're all from Goombas and they don't want to frighten away their predominantly toad customer base. There's a blimp on the west side of Rogueport that goes up to the Glitz Pit in the sky, but getting a ticket isn't going to be easy. Let's talk to some random NPCs and see what we can find out. Oh shit, I can change my clothes in this game? Alright, hell yeah. I kinda think the yellow suits Mario quite a bit. It reminds me of being a little kid and always choosing to play as yellow Mario in Smash 64 because I loved Wario so much and wanted him to be in that game so badly. I remember one time I told my dad, look, I'm playing as Wario. And he turned to my mom and went, it's trying to speak to me again. Can you please just fucking deal with it? Back on the east side of Rogueport, there's a building called the Trouble Center where we can take on jobs from people in need. It's fun to kind of do these at your leisure throughout the game. We'll definitely come back here later and talk about at least one specific job. The east side is run by Ishnail and the Craws. They're just petty thugs like the guy that we fucked up at the beginning of the game. They don't like the Pianta guys that run the ritzy west side of Rogueport, but they're small time. It's not really a rivalry as much as the Piantas run shit and Ishnail and his boys just kind of bend over and take it. There's a lot of bad blood here, but Ishnail is willing to give us some insider information if we pay him. I almost feel bad about how excited he gets over 64 coins. Maybe he doesn't know that you can get 100 coins in like 20 minutes if you just go smash up a bunch of the spinny guys in the sewers. Now that we know how to get an audience with Dom Pianta, maybe we can get him to give us a ticket. We've just got to give the cute boo girl at his shop the password for her to let us pass. Man, they look so fucking goofy with their hula skirts on underneath their suits. Can you imagine getting slimed out by a couple of dudes in hula skirts? Jesus. Don Pianta finds it heartwarming that we're collecting all the crystal stars for Princess Peach's pink puffy peachy pussy, so he offers us a deal. We do a favor for him and he'll give us the ticket. Goombella, he's gonna have us shoot a Slovakian guy in the back of the head. Nah, I'm kidding. He just wants us to find his daughter and her bum-ass boyfriend. Thankfully, they're pretty easy to find. Francesca, that's great and everything, but I don't really give a fuck at all. I'm telling your dad so I can finally get to the Glitz Pit, which, between you and me now, is probably the best arc in the game. The deal with the Glitz Pit is that the championship belt appears to have a crystal star on it, so the easiest way to get it is to sign up to be a fighter so we can win it ourselves. We get to start out at the very bottom in a shabby, shitty locker room. Ugh, imagine the smell. Hopefully Goombella doesn't get too excited in here. This Toad secretary lady and this guy that looks like Tubba Blubba set us up in the system and gives us the wrestler named Gonzalez, which always makes me laugh. Like, fuck it, yeah, sure. It's the same shit, gringo. It's fun to walk around the grounds of the Glitz Pit and talk to random people that are all here to watch dummies beat the shit out of each other. There's also this guy and he's like, oh my god, I'm a carrot. But the main fun of this chapter is actually doing the fights. Every battle has some kind of random stipulation that Tubba Blubba Jr. over here insists on, like, during this battle, make sure you appeal to the crowd at least once. Or during this battle, make sure you don't use any items. Or during this battle, make sure you don't kick Bret Hart too fucking hard or he's never gonna be able to wrestle again, you fucking asshole. I really like the stage that we do battles on in the Glitz Pit. The big TV screen in the background that's broadcasting our fights reminds me of Pokemon Stadium and Melee. I think this chapter does a really good job getting the player invested, even if you're not a wrestling fan, because I've never really been super into it or anything, but this part's always a highlight for me whenever I play this game. Again, it just kind of makes me go, wow, the battle system in this game is awesome, because this chapter is like 90% battles, but it's like the best one. You don't even have access to Mario's full arsenal of abilities and partners and badges yet, but it's still a blast fighting all these guys. So we do a few fights and it kicks ass, but we begin to realize that there's some weird shit going on here. People are talking about disappearing fighters, there's this bandit guy that doesn't ever participate in fights, and he's always seen snooping around because he's clearly more interested in the mystery at play. I mean, look at him. It's not like he's ever going to be the champion. He doesn't drink protein shakes like Mario does. Not all of his information is particularly useful, but he does mention that the Toad secretary lady does sometimes disappear for hours on end and nobody can seem to tell where she goes or what she's doing. Maybe she's a serial killer or something, that'd be cool. There's also the current champion, this big chicken guy named Rock Hawk. I don't know, he acts like he'd be voiced by Diedrich Bader and he's your typical douchebag celebrity athlete. Whoa, Mario, you gotta hit the gym, bruh. I'm banned from 15 bars in the Mushroom Kingdom because women keep instinctively covering their drinks when they're near me for some reason. I laid an egg the other day and 3 35-year-old gay guys were born from it. I killed them instantly. Speaking of eggs, there's a funny looking one hanging out outside and we save it from this weird pig guy that wants to eat it. Why are you selling hot dogs? You're made out of those. Goombella's feeling all maternal towards the egg, so we let it follow us around. Okay, egg, I'm gonna go beat some asses real quick. Hang out here in the locker room while I do my thing. The fights up to this point haven't been too notable or special, honestly. Again, it's fun to have specific instructions and stuff, like it makes these fights against Goombas and Koopas and Piranha Plants a little more exciting. But this is all shit we've seen before, up until we're against this pair of huge clefts that we can't damage no matter what we do. Shit. We have no choice but to forfeit for now.
Huh?
Well, I guess I gotta name my new son. I mean, I guess I could name him after my favorite 3-6 Mafia member. Now you may be asking, how fucking strong could one baby Yoshi possibly be? And the answer is extremely. He even has an ability that wallops these guys that previously we couldn't touch at all by swallowing and spitting them out at each other. Offensively, he's one of our best party members in the game. Look at how much he destroys the shit out of everybody.
Let's take a trip to East High and talk about a bitch you claim she's a model, but I think I hop and suck a dick. Always talking about what she can do, ain't gonna do, but I prefer the freaky bitch to lay me down and chill. If a nigga see you in the hallway, they all say, put the hoe on the house. By the way, Juicy J is the type of nigga that your hoes don't wanna diss. Right, even target bitch, take the sip of my piss, and to the other stupid bitch that go to Burley with the natural curly, busy giving Nathan nothing burly.
The cool thing about the Yoshi kid, besides the fact that he's one of the most fun party members to use in battles, is that there's actually quite a few variations of colors you can get based on how much time the egg spends with you before it hatches. I think the first time I ever played this game I just got regular green, but I was chill with that because I fucking loved Yoshi as a kid and I was just super excited to have a Yoshi party member. I always pick Yoshi in Mario Kart and stuff, he's just my guy. I'm always happy to see him. I really want to play that Yoshi game that came out on the Switch 2 one day, it reminds me of Yoshi's story. Now that Juicy J has joined the party, we really have no trouble rising to the top ranks really fast. Even Bowser shows up and we beat him. Ugh. Bowser. I don't even want to spend any time talking about him in this game. He shows up to waste time and be irritating. Like, in addition to the Peach sections, we have to waste time in between every chapter, doing some stupid platforming section as Bowser, or watching Bowser fuck around and not accomplish anything with Kammy Koopa for comedy reasons. I just can't be bothered to care about anything he does or says here.
It doesn't move me, man. Like,
Alright, stop it.
it doesn't move me.
Wake me up when he shows up in Super and we get to actually play as him and do shit that matters, like setting Dimentio on fire. Juicy J's overworld ability makes me laugh because it just makes me feel like Shaquille O'Neal when he's in that little ass Buick. He lets us travel across gaps in a similar fashion to Parakarry in the first game, and I understand this might just be a skishu on my end, but I very often find that the distance between these gaps in this game is not very forgiving at all, which is kind of frustrating because it isn't an automated thing like Parakarry. Like, you have to hold the button down yourself until Juicy's stamina runs out, and then you drop like a stone. Fuck. Fuck my ass. I feel like Saddam Hussein right now. I feel like this should not be this hard. I understand that I'm not the smartest guy of all time or anything, and I'm kind of clumsy. You know, one time I accidentally called my pharmacist mom, but I feel like I shouldn't have to get all tense every time there's a gap that I have to float across because I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it or not. They had this shit perfect in the first game. It would have been completely fine with me if Juicy J and Parakarry were completely functionally identical in the overworld, but it's alright. I just wish it was a little less annoying. We're making our way up the rankings really fast and get to upgrade to a Major League locker room. We also start getting weird anonymous emails, and Rock Hawk is getting all pissed off that his spot might be challenged soon, so we better figure out whatever the fuck is going on here quickly. The anonymous emailer tells us to check for something at the juice bar across the street, and when we do, we're given a hammer upgrade, so we get to say hi to Toadette again. The entire time we're in the minor league in the Glitz Pit, there's this big fucking block that we can't break, just sitting there. So as soon as we get the new hammer, we sneak back in and bust it up to see what's in there. Some scientific research about the crystal stars, I guess. We don't get to keep it for very long because Jolene shows up and confiscates it after tearing us a new one for causing a ruckus and being at places we're not supposed to be. Dude, I don't think I have a hump. Do you have a hump? We follow a few more leads and end up in the storage room next to Grubba's office. This masked mouse lady, who's definitely not also the bad shop owner in Rogueport, is already snooping around in here. Come on, Goombella, don't be a pick-me, dude. She does have a bit of a point, though. Every female character in this game is desperately in love with Mario, and it's hilarious to me because he, respectfully, has the personality of a Walmart smiley face sticker. I guess I get it, actually. Miss Mouse warns us to be careful about snooping, or else we'll end up like the poor souls upstairs, which sounds ominous as fuck. We find a hidden switch and find a staircase that leads up there, though. We snoop around a bit and listen in on Jolene and Grubba talking about fighters that have gone missing being scrubbed from the Glitz Pit records. Grubba seems to be very nervous about all this and wants it all to be as hush-hush as possible. Dude, it would be so funny if I could spin jump through the ceiling right now. We do a few more fights and find another weird key. Oh wait, I remember there being a locked door upstairs. Let's go see if it works on it. Is he fucking dead, man? Oh, I knew it. She is a serial killer. We don't have time for this shit. The title fight is happening. No, not that one. We gotta go beat Rock Hawk. Don't worry, guys. I'll call the cops as soon as I'm done with this shit. I'm running late. Rock Hawk has a lot of HP and hits really hard. He likes to pull underhanded bullshit like hanging from the rafter and throwing a bunch of random crap at us that's really hard to dodge. But if you're patient, he's manageable. What's much harder is 30 seconds after this when we find out that Grubba's using a crystal star powered machine to drain the life out of fighters to keep himself youthful and strong forever. So now we've gotta fight him. Grubba has a move that gives him 2 attacks per turn, which can be a real hassle, but Juicy J thankfully has a move that shrinks enemies and lowers their attack power by a considerable margin, which is a good counter to this because Grubba also loves to buff his own attack power whenever he can too. It gets kinda stressful when he starts stacking a bunch of buffs on himself, but counterguarding him after he's done all that just feels like the most insulting bitch slap I can give this guy. The music that plays during this fight is fucking awesome too. It's got really good energy and I'm just a sucker for any hip-hop influenced tracks in a video game soundtrack. Definitely one of my favorite boss fights in this game. It's a great time and it feels awesome to tear this scumbag down. Jolene explains that she was the one sending us the anonymous emails so she could lead us directly to discovering Grubba's secret so we could defeat him. All the missing fighters get healthy again and everybody's happy. Jolene gets to step up and run the Glitz Pit after this without any fucked up shit happening behind the scenes, and we can even come back here and do more fights later whenever we want to, which is really cool. Another crystal star down. Now we get to start my other favorite chapter in this game where we get to go creepypasta mode a little bit. There's this special orange pipe underneath Rogueport that takes us to Twilight Town and oh. Well, what the fuck does that mean? I remember there being a kind of scary looking guy hanging out in the back alleys of Rogueport, and it's probably a little racist to just assume that he's from Twilight Town, but he's really nice about it. It turns out that we have to have our own names written on us in order to enter. Kinda weird, but alright, sure. I like Darkly, he's really sweet. We arrive in Twilight Town and the dude greets us and immediately turns into a pig. And then the mayor is all like, "Ah, shit, another one. Come with me and I'll explain." And he tells us that people keep getting turned into pigs because the town is cursed. He mentions that the crystal star is in a big creepy abandoned mansion past the forest outside of town called Creepy Steeple. It's interesting talking to the different NPCs and seeing how they're handling everything. Some of them are really scared about turning into a pig and some of them are being nihilist edgelords and pretending like they don't give a shit. But come on, I know they're crying while listening to Isaiah TG and googling shit like, do pigs feel happiness on the low? The gatekeeper won't let us leave Twilight Town unless we get permission from the mayor. Ugh, fine, let's go back and ask him. Oh. Well shit. can't exactly get his approval to leave if he's a pig. Maybe the gatekeeper will understand if we explain. Oh. Holy shit, we gotta figure out what's going on here. This shit is crazy. We do this bit again and roll on out of here. Hey, check this out. Yeah! It feels so great hitting a motherfucker with a spinny hammer first strike too. I really love the way the environment in this chapter looks a lot, and the inside of Creepy Steeple is also great. I love the stained glass windows and the funky curved pillars. This chapter really leans into Halloween colors. It's all gloomy but very striking and vivid. Cool ass chapter. After a little puzzle involving these switches that move the staircase, we head up to the top of the steeple and find this Dupligos chilling in his studio apartment. He's turning everybody into pigs because he thinks it's funny, which is kinda awesome, but we gotta stop him. The fight against him is actually incredibly underwhelming. He turns himself into a shadow version of us halfway through the fight, which is kinda cool, but he's shockingly easy to deal with. Wait, that's the end of the fucking chapter? Really? Oh my god. He took our body, our friends, our crystal stars, fucking everything. I really like the way the game fakes you out like this with the end of chapter graphic coming up too. I think it's still pretty effective and cool even if you're replaying the game and you know it's coming. The Dupligos stuff in Paper Mario 64 is some of my favorite parts of that game, and I think it's even cooler here that he's fucked with us so much. It's such sleight of hand shit too, like he stole our whole goddamn identity. I guess we gotta go find him and see if we can get our fucking shit back. It's kinda rough fighting all the enemies on the way back to Twilight Town without a partner character, especially when I've got to take on like 3 enemies at once because Mario only has so many AoE attacks at his disposal when he's alone. Gonna make like Fred Durst and... You'll notice that there's no lowercase p here, and that's to prevent people from being able to guess his name instantly on replays because it'd kinda, you know, take all the fun out of things. We can't touch him until we learn his name. No matter what we do, we're at a stalemate if we try to fight him, so we've got to run. We're treated to another cutscene of Beldam verbally abusing Vivian and leaving her alone to look for some bullshit that she lost and is blaming her for. I feel bad for her, let's help her find it. She's incredibly sympathetic to us having our name stolen, and she's getting sick of having to deal with her sister's bullshit, so she joins up with us. It feels good to have a buddy again, even if we have been reduced to a shadow of what we used to be. See, we can't even fucking leave Twilight Town now because our name is gone. Jesus. I want to address something that's going to make some very stupid people mad, but it's worth talking about. Vivian was originally intended to be portrayed as a transgender woman. The original Japanese script of TTYD has Beldam calling her a man instead of ugly, even though Vivian refers to herself as a woman and clearly presents herself to be a woman. Now, a lot of people get upset at this and go, no, that's not what the original developers meant. But I think this whole chapter being about Mario losing his name and identity, being trapped in a body that he doesn't feel is his own, is pretty obviously meant to tie into the personal themes of the partner character that we befriend here. Now, I'm not an expert on all this shit. I'm not transgender, and I'm not here to discuss the history of trans inclusiveness in Japan, as I'm not nearly qualified or smart enough to have that conversation. But I do think it is cool that this sort of thing was explored with any degree of tact in a Japanese video game released in 2004. And like I said, I think these themes are present in the chapter, even though the English localization of this game originally scrubbed all references to Vivian's gender explicitly. This was probably to avoid any controversy, or maybe they were worried they weren't going to get an E rating by the ESRB, who knows. In the English script of this game, as it was presented to us here in America, Vivian feels like an outcast. She's bullied relentlessly by her sisters. She doesn't feel like she belongs. But she makes friends with Mario because he doesn't judge her or want anything from her except for her to be herself. I think this is nice, and it's something that many people can simply relate with. I reflect on the scenes of my own life, and I have felt like Vivian many times. Like I don't fit in anywhere, and that nobody really likes me for who I am. And in many more recent scenes, I feel like Mario, in that I have accepted and embraced friends in my life that are going through something similar. I just think it's sweet and cool that this sort of stuff is in this game. Also, in the remake, they do address this explicitly, and I think that's great. And look, if any of this bothers you or makes you upset,
I got news for you. That means you're gay. I got news for you.
I think you're a faggot, alright?
Anyway, where the fuck was I? Vivian is fun to use in battle. Her attacks all involve random buttons on the GameCube controller being pressed after the little meter fills up, so you're forced to really engage and focus if you want to take advantage of her sweet-ass fire magic. Her overworld ability lets us sink under the floor, and we can use this to spy on some of the crows in town. I think I'm gonna be sick, man. We need to go back to the mid-2000s before every normie in the world had internet access on their phone and ruined it for everybody. Some of the crows seem aware of what happened to us, and they're talking amongst themselves about how to find out about the Duplaghost's name, so we've got to go all the way back to Creepy Steeple again. We sneakily listen in on this funny parrot spilling the beans, and now we've got to go back through the forest again. I still really like this chapter a lot, but it's hard carried by how cool the location is and how unique the actual situation Mario is put through is. Like, yeah, it sucks to fight these flower guys every single time we have to traverse the forest, but it helps that we're all cool and purple and shit, and Vivian can set them all on fire. Spoiler alert, but I'm not actually gonna complain about the backtracking until I get to the fucking stupid island chapter after this. Once we get jumped by Duplass again, he throws a tantrum when we correctly guess his name, and we've immediately got to chase him back to go fight him in front of his stupid lazy boy rocking chair. Yeah, I guess a Duplaghos could be 65 years old, sure. What do you think he watches on his TV up here all day? All in the Family? Yeah, he's probably an Archie Bunker guy. How are you guys falling for this shit, man? Look at his dead, empty eyes. You know, I really like the trope of the hero character getting recontextualized into being something scary and intimidating. One of my favorite examples of this is the X-Parasite Samus monster in Metroid Fusion. Just a cool mindfuck to be terrified of something that looks like the character that you were just playing as. I don't think this is a terribly unique opinion to have either. I mean, kids today are playing Fire Red and Leaf Green with a new rock by the water and a mutated Blastoise that actually kills Gary's Raticate now. I haven't paid that much attention to the reception of the TTYD remake online, but I'm sure that all the Deltarune kiddos loved this chapter with the fucked up evil Mario in it. You know, after they recovered from the takoyaki that gave them food poisoning. Okay, my friends aren't able to see that he's pulling the wool over their eyes, but whatever, at least Vivian's here to help us. Oh shit. We gotta do this alone? I'm just gonna charge my shit up and hope for the best. Oh, Vivian, that's really sweet, but it's important to remember that the world is filled with people that'll be kind to you. You just have to seek them out. Either way, it's great to have you here. Now go set this guy on fire for me. You'd think that Goombella would realize that that isn't the real Mario because he can't counterguard like we can. And also, they're on the right side of the screen now, but, you know, whatever. I know I've been stopping and going, dude, check out this boss theme for like every boss fight in this game so far, but I'm gonna do it again for this one because it's awesome as fuck and it's one of the most iconic songs in the game. Now that we're actually done with this chapter, it's time to fuck around in Rogueport a little bit more. I mentioned the Trouble Center before because there is a specific job that I wanted to do. Miss Mouse wants us to find a badge for her that's hidden in Hooktail's castle. It's hiding behind a thing that Flurry can blow away. What's so special about this badge anyway? I mean, I don't know why she wants that, because she could probably just... I mean, she's a fucking mouse. I think she can just make that noise herself, right? She joins up with us, yeah, she's an optional partner. In the overworld, she can help us find hidden items, and in battle, she's kind of situational. It's cool that she can pierce enemies with high defense, and she also has an ability that turns 20 FP into 20 HP for Mario. But I only really needed that one time during the fight against Bonetail in the Pit of 100 Trials. Yeah, I beat that shit, what do you take me for? It was pretty fun, but ludicrously hard during the last like 20 floors. And Bonetail is definitely the hardest boss in this game. The reward you get for beating him is also the actual funniest joke in this game too. Generally, you'd probably save this for the post-game, but I did it during chapter 7 or 8 or something because I'm sick in the head. TTYD does also actually have a post-game too, yeah. You can take all the time you like going wherever you want, doing side quests and shit, making your way through the Trouble Center list, beating the Pit of 100 Trials, regaining your champion title with the Glitz Pit. It's one thing this game honestly mogs the shit out of the original over. The next Crystal Star is in Keel Hall Key, but we need to find somebody that can take us there on a boat. There's this flamboyant kind of fella named Flavio hanging out at Podley's pub that has a boat, and he's stupid enough to accompany us to Keel Hall Key, but we need to find somebody to actually like be the captain of this vessel, because Flavio is just a rich guy that has it for vanity purposes. He's not a sailor. There's this grumpy old guy that lives next door to Frankly that was apparently a fantastic sea captain back in the day, but he doesn't want anything to do with us and he tells us to fuck off. I mean, I feel bad bothering him, but also I know that we need to recruit a bomb friend in order to deal with all the big obvious cracks we've seen in walls all over the city, so I'm gonna push it anyway. He's sad about his dead wife. Podley has a conveniently written letter from her that is like, wow, Bobry, I love you so much, and my dying wish is that you keep sailing forever and ever. And when we deliver it to him, he agrees to sail us to Keel Hall Key. I'm being really flippant about this, but I just find it to be a little silly that this fucking bartender was living like 30 feet away from the guy for like 20 years, and he just refused to give the guy the letter because he was eked out about it. Like, come on. I think I unironically would have preferred if we just met with Bobry and he told us his tragic fucking backstory outright for 5 minutes without us having to run around and play courier about it, because it's just so ridiculous to me. Look, I obviously don't think it's an inherently bad idea to have heavy topics in a kid's game, especially in an RPG where the characters are kind of a big part of what makes it shine. Bobry having a dead wife adds a lot to his character, and it's a big part of why I liked him so much when I was a little kid. I just don't think this was given enough time to be as impactful as it could be. I think the dead wife stuff would have landed a lot better if it was something that we either found in Bobry's journal or it was something that we discovered about Bobry throughout the chapter while we're on the island with him, instead of it being almost like an obstacle that we have to overcome before we can even begin the chapter. It just feels kind of jarring and awkward as it is. Like, the Vivian stuff works because you meet her way earlier on and you get to see the seed planted early of her being abused by her sisters and her character development and everything, but Bobry you just meet like 30 seconds before this. And it's like, Cheerio, son, I have a dead wife. Woo, you're not given any time to, like, prepare for it. You get what I'm saying? Oh, hey, Lord Crump, what's up? We sail off and nothing bad happens. Just kidding, we get attacked by fire spirits, but it's okay because we still made it to Keel Haul Key. You guys know what keel haul means, right? Keel hauling is what boat captains did to sailors that attempted mutiny, where they'd loop a rope around the keel of the ship and tie the defector to it, brutally dragging them the entire length of the sharp underside of the ship. A lot of the times they'd be dead when they pull the body back up onto the deck, or at least be so disfigured and injured that it would scare everybody else into not rebelling during these long, isolated, multiple month-long journeys across the oceans. I just thought that was interesting. Can't wait for later on in this game when we get to go to Drawn and Quartered Quarry. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Keel Haul Key sucks. I fucking hate this chapter. If you thought the backtracking was bad in Twilight Town, it's actually obnoxious here. I'll break it down for you. We start out on the beach and make our way through the jungle with this particular section with these gaps that irk the ever-loving shit out of me. Make our way past this bridge up to this palm tree that an injured Bobbery is resting under. He's old and weak, so he thinks he's dying, so his final request is to drink a fucking Pepsi. So we have to go all the way back through this shit to get a Pepsi from Flavio, but he's being an asshole and not sharing unless we trade it for something better. Well, something better is a coconut from the coconut tree in the distance behind that bridge from earlier. So we've got to go back, fuck up these jumps a few times, all while battling piranha plants and fuzzies and these fire ghost enemies that are frustratingly immune to Vivian's fire magic. Get the coconut to the cocoa cunt and then travel all the way back again to give Bobbery the Pepsi so he'll join our party. And there's this cave right up here that we can't enter unless we get Flavio to come up here with us with his red skull jewel. So we have to go back and forth again the entire way through this jungle once more, all while still fighting the fucking piranha plants with halitosis and the transphobic fire spirits until we can finally enter the cave and go looking for the crystal star. If my best friend Wacko wasn't here to cheer me on through all this, I think I'd just fucking kill myself. The inside of the cave isn't quite as bad as what we just went through, but it's way too big for its own good and it has way too many annoying enemies inside. At least I found this fucking star piece. I love Vivian too, but using her ability to get past these traps is just agonizing. Look at this shit. I know I'm kind of steamrolling through this section, but all this shit takes like 3 hours, and every single time I come here it hampers my enjoyment of this game so much. I usually try to be more positive in these videos and seek out good points even when I'm playing a bit that I'm not crazy about in a game, but man, this chapter is just not my thing for the most part. We run into Francesca and what's-his-face out here, and we help save them and a bunch of toads that all look exactly alike and are dirty in the exact same spots, and then we finally get to fight the giant skeleton guy that's guarding the crystal star. Cortez is a really fun boss fight. He has 3 forms that we have to beat, and his final form involves his floating head and all these big floating swords that'll all attack us at once if we don't put them down. Thankfully, Vivian has a really strong AoE attack that'll... Oh fuck, I got all excited and I hit the wrong button. It's okay, I'm just gonna earth tremor this shit. After we beat Cortez, he's like, "I'm undying, S.A., you cannot beat me or take my treasure, fool." But then he chills out when we tell him that we just want the crystal star and nothing else.
He's fucking Spanish, he's not Mexican.
We give him a case of Modelo Negra and he agrees to help us take down Lord Crump and his legion of perverts, and then we finally get to leave this fuck-ass island.
He's fucking Spanish.
That was so stressful. I think we should head back to Professor Frankly's place and have Madame Fleury teach us how to open a Red Bull with another Red Bull. The next crystal star requires us to go to Poshley Heights, which is only accessible via the XS Express, which is a very funny name for a train that is typically frequented by the wealthy and rich. In order to get a ticket, we gotta cozy up to Don Pianta again, but I'm not even gonna bother summarizing this shit. I'm just gonna show you what I had to do for a few seconds. Yeah, this is really fucking funny, guys. Great joke. There's this guy hanging out in front of the train that looks like he's gonna be trouble, but he's just genuinely autistic about trains. Well, now I feel like an asshole for profiling him based on his angry eyes and the little cloud guy's sunglasses. I should know better. I made friends with a rough around the edges Lakitu guy in the first game. Fuck, I'm so fucking stupid. The XS Express is mad comfy. Look at how nice these rooms are. Vivian, come sit up here with me. Yeah. This is awesome. We find a weird note of somebody threatening something, so let's run around and do a little investigating. I think all the best chapters in this game involve some kind of mystery. Like this one, the Glitz Pit, Twilight Town. I think TTYD is at its best when we get to play detective a little bit. Toad train conductor always freaks me out a little bit because where the hell did most of his head go? The other toads on the train are so cute though. Look at this little guy with his little bow tie and this maid toad with a heart on her head. That's precious. Man, this is so nice. I like to imagine Mario and all the partner characters sitting at a table together enjoying a meal. Please enjoy this drawing I had my buddy make of my rough approximation of what this would probably look like. You know, I really enjoy a nice train ride. I mean, theoretically I do. I've never actually been on a train myself, but I really liked watching Galaxy Express 3-9 as a kid. You ever watch that shit? It's one of my favorite shows actually, even though Leiji Matsumoto only knows how to draw one face for women. It's kinda awesome. Do you think that this is just what his ideal woman looks like and it broke his brain so much that he literally can't draw anything but her? That's kinda romantic and sweet in a weird way. I really like the conductor in this show. I honestly think it could be possible that he was a big inspiration for Black Mage and Final Fantasy, and by extension the shaman characters in the Mario RPGs. There's no concrete evidence of this or anything, but Kenny Lauderdale agrees with me, and you can take his opinions as much more educated and authoritative than mine, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a good variety of passengers on the train too. There's this rat guy who's an important businessman type, and this fat fuck toad that's just here to eat the gourmet dinners provided by the train staff. There's this celebrity douchebag and this little family of bombs that just reek of affluence. We actually saw them in Glitzville before this. I always like how they have NPCs traveling around in this series. It's cute detail to see characters going on their own little adventures while we're doing our shit. Luigi's another character that's doing that in this game, and they have this whole thing going on with him and various partner characters that are always pissed off at him for random stuff. I don't find any of it to be particularly interesting or funny, but I don't mind it at all compared to the Bowser stuff because we can just ignore Luigi if we don't give a shit instead of the game forcing us to sit and listen. That's generally my take on this sort of thing. If it's optional, then I don't mind at all if the game wants to get all cute and tell jokes at me. I just get kind of annoyed when I have to mash the A button over and over again to get through the Bowser cutscene because it's apparently so important that the devs were like, oh yeah, everybody needs to see Bowser arguing with Rockhawk about anabolic steroids and protein powder. We let one of the staff members know about the threatening note we found and then find everybody hanging out in the kitchen together. There's this penguin detective guy on board that's convinced that somebody stole the stew that the chef made, but honestly he's pretty incompetent. He starts accusing literally everybody of stealing the soup, but come on, it's gotta be the fat guy, right? Alright, wise guy, I know how it looks, but there's literally soup stains on the floor outside of your room. Yeah, see? Suck my dick. Other stuff starts happening. This rich lady's jewelry has been swiped, the overseer says that they're one blanket short, and the Babam family is arguing because they don't know what to get their kid for his birthday. But we just had a conversation with him about Galaxy Express 3-9, and he's always talking about how much he loves trains and how much he wants to work on them when he grows up. So getting him an autograph from the conductor seems like a no-brainer. Easy. I like how the time of day affects the lighting and background music in the train. It's all very comfy and nice. I always appreciate little details like that. Even though the XS Express is really just made up of a few rooms and hallways, and we have to spend a few hours here, it helps to keep this chapter from feeling stale. There's a room here that seemingly nobody is using. Let's try hiding out in it and see what happens. Oh shit, somebody get Mike Stoklasa on the phone. He loves this type of crap. The ghost wants us to do him a favor and retrieve his old diary that he had while he was alive in exchange for the blanket that he has. Okay, that was easy. A funny detail is that if you try to read the diary before you bring it back to him, he just straight up kills you. I mean, he's completely justified. What if he had some deeply private fantasies written in here? The businessman rat guy tells us that he's now missing some important documents for his work, and we run around trying to find pages of it. What are you doing? Okay, we get back all the stuff that was stolen and the train makes a stop at Riverside Station. Oh shit, you were dupless? Great plan, dude. What the hell did you think was gonna happen here? We do learn that he's now working with Vivian's sisters, which probably isn't good, but we'll deal with that later. Riverside Station is great, but whenever I come here, I just think about that clip of Chibi playing through it while his mom is yelling at him.
So sick of going
So am I.
Then why aren't you listening to me?
Because I have a life to live, and I'm living it.
No, I'm gonna unplug it if you get a smart mouth on you. Don't give me that crap.
I'm not giving you any crap at all.
Yeah, you are.
I like that.
I told you, this isn't happening all
After we get back on the train, it gets attacked by smorgs, and we've got to blow them all away with Flurry's wind. I get kind of pissed off though, because I always think that it would have been really cool if Flurry's gale force would have been applicable to this boss fight, because it's how we deal with the smorgs in the overworld, but look, it doesn't do shit. At least now I can show you how cool Vivian's AoE attack is when I actually pull it off correctly. This boss fight's pretty exciting. I like the rock formations in the background passing us by to remind us that we're on top of the fucking train. And it's always a little tense whenever a boss interacts with NPCs in this game, so you feel a little extra worried for the passengers that it's got in its clutches. I forgot to mention it a second ago because I got distracted by having a life and living it. But Mario picks up a new jump upgrade back at Riverside Station. It's a lot harder to consistently pull off action commands for it compared to the spin jump though, because it requires Mario launching himself way up into the sky and you've got to follow his little shadow on the ground and time your A press perfectly. It's very fun when you can pull it off though, and it does come in handy very often. Even when the counter guard doesn't do any retaliation damage, it still feels good as fuck to just dodge an enemy's attack completely. Get fucked. Poshley Heights is really nice. Look at how cute these houses and yards look. Hey look, this guy's got a swimming pool. I wonder if... okay. Anti-homeless architecture is getting crazy, guys. This is like the Mushroom Kingdom's equivalent to the south side of Portland, Oregon. They're selling pasta for fucking 50 coins? Oh my god, I bet they've got a Whole Foods here too with an HR lady that's even more racist than the last one. That's a really nice line of dialogue. I agree. So true. The crystal star is inside of a museum that the penguin detective guy from earlier owns, but oh shit, we're too late. I love that Dupless can't phase into the floor, so he just fucking breaks the window to leave. That's so fucking awesome. He's such a loser. Inspector Clouseau over here assures us that the real crystal star is still safe in here, hidden away somewhere, but he's feeling all playful and wants us to figure out how to find it ourselves. Well, that's fine. Just requires us to use our new jump ability to explore a bit, which is fun. I generally like the big jump, but it also kind of sucks because when you use it, you can't move horizontally at all. You're locked in wherever you launched off, so throughout the game they put all these X marks in places you're supposed to use it, because otherwise I imagine it'd be a little frustrating. We beat a bunch of purple boos and take the crystal star and also find this badge that lets us dress up like Luigi. But when we put it on while also wearing the Wario badge, it makes us look like a different character that they invented to fill character slots for sports spin-off games. Interesting. I think I'll stick with it because I really like purple, not because I have any affinity for he who shall not be named. The supercomputer reveals to Peach that the X-Naut's base of operations is actually on the moon, and it begins to formulate an escape plan for her, but she gets caught before she can even finish sending us an email telling us what's happening. Fuck. And then they do this big emotional scene where the computer gets shut down permanently and Peach is all sad. I don't know, I'm not really feeling it. Let me show you the actual saddest scene in this game. Hi, Toadette. You gonna tell me what this hammer does? Oh, okay. Alright, we've got to figure out how to get to the moon. There's this far off outpost where these bombs have a big cannon that could theoretically shoot us up there, but they won't talk to us unless we have Bobbery out with us. I've had enough of all this xenophobia and racism. I'm gonna sing a song about world peace and tolerance that'll end racism for good. You would not believe your eyes. We need Goldbob's permission to fire the cannon. Okay, that's the train kid's dad. We just saw them in Poshley Heights, so getting permission from him won't be a big deal. But also, we need to find a bomb that knows how to actually fire the cannon named General White. Yeah, I know. Do you remember that optional side quest in Paper Mario 64 where you have to deliver a bunch of letters to characters all over the game world to get them together for a fishing trip, and your reward is a really awesome badge? We have to do that again, but this time the reward is getting to continue the game's storyline. And it's worse because we don't have the dignified drive of a mailman on a quest to deliver messages to people. Here we're just getting fucking jerked around. We just have to wander all over the world looking for this guy, and anytime we get anywhere close, everybody's always like, oh shoot, you just missed him. But he said he was going here, you might catch him if you go now. Just ad infinitum. Infinitum. I don't know how to fucking pronounce this gay ass word. This is just the worst part of the Keel Hall Key chapter again. We're running around in fucking circles. You know, really early on in the video I praised TTYD's opening for wasting a lot less of your time than Paper Mario 64's opening, but the trade-off is so much worse here. Like obviously I still really like this game and I completely understand anybody that's like TTYD is the best game ever, but doing this video has reminded me so much of why I don't revisit this one as much as the first game. So after we do all that shit, we finally get to Blast to the Moon, and it's super exciting for about 10 seconds until we get there, and we, for some goddamn reason, have to walk super slowly across this boring, barren map until we find the stupid X-Naut base. See, even riding on Juicy J doesn't make us move much faster at all here. Whatever, at least our movement speed goes back to normal once we actually enter the base. Thanks, Goombella, very cool. There are some cool puzzles in here that make me feel stupid in a fun way at least, and the music that plays in here is sincerely fantastic. It's a nice house beat with lots of beat boops in it, and it's a great backdrop for running around the base and fucking shit up. We have to face Lord Crump again and his upgraded Walker Mech robot, and he's got some insanely funny tricks up his sleeve this time. I actually lost my shit laughing when he sucked up members of the audience and shot them at us. He's not really a challenge at all with the abilities we have at our disposal now though. When he shoots his arms out, Vivian handles them no problem, and charging Mario up a bit before hitting him with a spring jump takes out a good percentage of his health. I mean, by this point in the playthrough I've already beaten Bone Tail, so this shit is kind of a cakewalk anyway.
Yeah, motherfucker.
I haven't been talking about the Crystal Star abilities that much because honestly I usually barely use any of them besides Earth Tremor or the one where you damage enemies by drawing circles around them like I'm playing Pokemon Ranger. But the final Crystal Star's ability is really powerful and it damages all enemies at once, which is really nice. It just uses like basically all of our star power, so it's very much a last resort type of thing. That Goomba had anthrax, I had no choice. We meet up with the computer and ask him if he's okay computer, but he's not okay computer. There's your fucking thumbnail reference joke for this video. Tech activates the teleporter on the base for us to get back to Rogueport so we can save Peach. Here's another really funny thing. He blows up the X-Naut base and destroys it, but like, why did he do that? Grotus isn't there anymore. They're calling it the most confusing suicide bombing in Nintendo history. Oh right, we were collecting all the crystal stars so we could open the door. The big door that the game is named after. Okay, let's go save Peach, I don't know. The atmosphere inside of the Shadow Palace is honestly great. I love seeing the stalactite riddled cave ceiling up in the distance, and I love the luxurious carpet and all the ornate gold railings and stuff. I looked up the difference between stalactites and stalagmites, but I still don't get why they have to be called different things. Like, that seems unnecessary to me. I apologize if any geologists are watching this video right now and I just pissed you off really bad with my ignorance. Rocks are cool. I'm not declaring war on you guys, I'm just another double-digit IQ YouTuber. I like that we've had to use Vivian's ability so much in the overworld lately, but she isn't annoyed by it at all. She's just all happy like normal. There are a few puzzle rooms in the palace that continue looping unless we're attentive to these torches on the wall. You know, I don't know what I was really expecting behind the 1,000-year door, but I can honestly say it wasn't this fucking House of Leaves shit. It's so impossibly massive down here. Like, are we really still underneath Rogueport? Just endless hallways that go on forever and ever. We end up in this courtyard kind of area with these chain chomps and this building in the center with lots of rooms that each have a little riddle inside to help us solve whatever puzzles within it. We have to decipher all of them in order to collect all of the keys that we need in order to progress. And since there's like 8 rooms, you'd think that it'd get old really fast, but honestly, this is actually one of my favorite parts of the game. The music that plays in here helps a lot for sure, but it's really just zen and chill in here. It's nice figuring out what all the riddles mean, asking Gubella for help, collecting the keys. It's a calm reprieve from all the battles that we've had to deal with to get here and all the battles that we're about to do too. I like this room up here at the top where we've got to insert all of the keys we've found, and there's this big heliocentric orrery of what I assume is the solar system in the Mario universe. I don't really know why it's here, but it's a really cool visual. There isn't any explanation for why it's here from what I can tell, but I think more games should just have cool unexplainable shit in them. After we place all the keys into all of the little towers, we have to fight Vivian's sisters and Dupless again. Don't worry, Vivian, me and Juicy J are gonna kick their asses. By this point in the game, Juicy has learned his own attack that does a bunch of small bits of damage to every enemy on the ground, but it also makes me laugh because why are they all green Yoshis? Like, isn't the whole point of the Yoshis is that they're different colors? You guys couldn't have made a few other sprites? I like taking Marilyn down first because she does the most damage to us. Beldam mostly focuses on buffing herself and her allies and debuffing us in between hitting us with freezing spells, and Dupless does his regular gimmick of shapeshifting into copies of us. I let Vivian out to score the final hit of the battle because if I was her, I'd want to smack the hell out of my asshole sister too. We continue on our way and arrive at this big area that requires us to use all of our partner's abilities in fun ways and all of our hammer and jump upgrades as well. I like when they did this at the end of the first game, and I like it here too. It's like a fun little exam to make sure you've been paying attention and you know how to use all of the abilities that the game has given you. I will say, for all the issues I have with TTYD, I don't think I disliked a single puzzle the game threw at me, if puzzle is even the right word here. We've got 3 boss fights in a row once we get towards the deepest part of the Shadow Palace. First up is Grotus, and honestly, a little underwhelming. He's not a huge challenge. He spawns in these little green guys that protect him from damage, so we've got to take them out first, but we have tons of options to do this. I decided to draw a bunch of fucked up misshapen circles around him. Yeah, it makes sense that Lord Crump needed to be around to protect you, dude. You are not built for this shit. Finally, Bowser does something helpful and relevant. And good news, his battle is way more fun and challenging, and his battle theme in this game kicks ass. Sure was cool of Nintendo to get Venetian snares on this shit. Bowser's got a lot of health, does a lot of damage, and he's got Kammy Koopa with him to heal him and boost his attack and defense. So this fight can always potentially drag on a bit, but I don't even mind because it's really fun. You know, Kammy Koopa just kind of disappears after this. It's sad. I don't think I've even mentioned her once in this video up till now because she has such a minor role in this game compared to the first one. And then poof. I don't know, maybe she retired and Bowser pays her pension now. Maybe she died. So Grotus's great master plan was to kidnap Peach and offer her up as a vessel for the Shadow Queen, who up until this point was sealed in this coffin. She gladly takes over Peach's body, but the plan goes a bit sideways. She has no interest in taking orders from this guy and his incel terrorist organization. Oh fuck. It turns out that this was actually Beldam's plan all along. She was manipulating Grotus so he'd revive the Shadow Queen so she can cover the Earth in darkness or destroy the Earth or whatever the fuck. I don't know. We'll stop her though, don't worry. In her first form, she attacks us while she's still in Peach's body, and I feel kind of bad wailing on her like this. But after a minute, she reverts back to her original kind of scary, otherworldly sort of form. She's supposed to be like Vivian's great aunt or something. I know there's an NPC in Rogueport that dumps a bunch of lore at you if you give a shit about that sort of thing, but I don't think anything is ever addressed about the relationship between the Shadow Sirens and the Shadow Queen. They kind of look alike. Unfortunately, after she reverts back to her original form, we can't damage her anymore. I even tried using the most powerful attack we have, and it just bounces off of her like puke off of the floor at the ice skating rink. That's fucking gross. Why did I type that? That's disgusting. Her attacks do a lot of damage too. We basically just have to survive a few turns before the game does the Earthbound thing, where all the characters we've met before give us strength and stuff through the power of prayer, so we can actually fight back. She loves to do this attack where she drags us underground and does a shitload of damage to us. And it's actually quite difficult to deal with because there's no visual cues for you to time your counter guards. It was really smart of them to have the final boss of the game do an attack that fucks with your ability to reasonably utilize your action commands. I like that a lot. A lot of her attacks with her hands can also be very troublesome, but once again, Vivian's AoE attack is just kind of the best move in the game, and she continues being the most useful party member here. There's also this like, I don't know what the fuck it is. It sounds like a dog barking or a woman screaming or something. It's audible in the music throughout the entire battle, and I've never known what it is, but it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. This fight is quite long, and I end up getting a lot of good use out of some other party members as well throughout its runtime. Bobbery also has a very powerful attack that damages all enemies on screen, even though it uses a bunch of FP. And Juicy J's attacks are as effective as ever, so eventually we finally win. The bad guys flee the scene, and Peach is completely unharmed. After this, we get a big scene where Mario and Peach say goodbye to everybody, and then later Goombella tells us what every partner character is up to, which is cute. And then after the credits roll, we're free to run around in the overworld and do whatever we want. And that's the whole game pretty much. I know I had some complaints throughout the video, but really, this game rules, and it makes perfect sense why it matters so much to so many people. I still prefer the first game overall, but this one is still worth your time. I think my favorite thing about this game, and also the first Paper Mario, is that they make me want to play more RPGs. I always enjoy the familiarity of all the little Mario characters running around in this sort of setting, and it always kind of internally encourages me to play more RPGs. I think the reason I made that video about Mother 1 back in the day was because I had played through my favorite RPG of all time earlier that year. I think all of you should play as many RPGs as you can. It's a wonderful medium to tell a nice story in, and I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of good old turn-based combat. I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably going to play Grandia after this. I haven't played it since I was a teenager, and I've had a hankering to revisit it lately. Maybe I'll do a video about that next. Who knows? I hope you had fun watching, and that's all, folks. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.